Hello. Oh, that's no
Hi.
fun. Can't hear my guitar.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's fun.
Can you hear either of the guitars?
I was gonna say I can. This is my guitar in the room. Definitely getting signal there. Huh. 2 outs. Those are good. I'm gonna embarrass my. Joe's is good. Okay. Well, now you'll all get to see me crawl on the floor like a crab. Joe will entertain you with his opinions on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yes. Happy Friday, everyone. We are running through one QC, just like last time. But this time we have two signals, separate of each other. And technology, something happened.
Yes, you see me, now you don't.
Yeah, how's everyone doing? Everyone had a good New Year. We're getting... Oh, what happened? I think we lost... Oh, there we go. Lost our lighting there for a second. But yeah, no, everything's great. Hopefully you can still hear me speaking. Oh, the camera turned off.
We're good. Should be back on.
Let's see.
Tell us we're back.
I don't know. Are we back? Oh boy. Well, let's hear from y'all. How was your week? Is anyone coming out to the NAMM show? Because we're about to leave next Tuesday to head out to California, to Orange County, specifically Anaheim, to exhibit at the NAMM show, which is the National Association of Music Merchants. So if you don't know what NAMM is, it's a huge trade show out in California, and a bunch of manufacturers, retailers, distributors, artists, all come hang out for a few days to talk business and showcase new products, etc. So let's hear if Jake's guitar is working now.
Oh boy, I make no promises. Can you hear me talking though? We can hear Joe. Jake's DI isn't coming through. Let me go straight to the guitar signal. So y'all can't hear any of that guitar that I just played? That's lame. What is going on here?
Is it the output?
No, checked it. Nothing. That's so lame. Well, you may just have to listen to Joe play guitar all day then. Because we're getting signal in here. The monitor signal's coming through. Why isn't it like picking up over there? Okay, I'm going to try one more thing. This is the world's most entertaining live stream. I'm glad that everyone's having a good time. I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
This is fun. We're having fun! Let's see.
Composite neck on that build, though. Oh, Gianluca, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. That was a really fun build to put together, and I'm looking forward to talking more about it at NAMM. Let's see.
Yes, he is looking forward to talking about it more at NAMM. Okay, I have an idea.
He has an idea. Well, for right now, we can at least talk about Christmas, New Year's, specifically our Christmas sale. So anyone who took part in that, your mystery stocking is going to ship out as soon as we get back from NAMM. We're just waiting on some of the products to come in for the companies that were a part of that. So appreciate all the support there. And yeah, I think there's a lot of really cool things that we want to go through today. I think I'll wait for Jake for some of them. But did anyone get anything cool for Christmas? Did you have any New Year's resolutions, gear related or otherwise, that you want to throw in the chat that you're stoked about? Let's hear them. It says, is there a cutoff date for your pre-orders on the Growler Standard Baritone Rustic Black? I'm super interested in owning a Balaguer, and I think this might be the one to start with. Right now, there is no cutoff, but I would say definitely get your pre-order in sooner than later, because we will cut it off at a certain point, most likely in February, I would assume, or potentially early March. Just depends on kind of how we go about things in the next month. Let's hear.
That's all true. Oh, they're not going to, I don't. So there was an update with, I have to assume it's an OBS thing where even though I have two separate channels, we have two separate ins, everything's reading until it gets to the interface. So I have to assume that the interface, it looks like it's in mono, and it won't let me pull up the properties of that strip in OBS to confirm that, because we're live streaming. So what that means is, I'm sure y'all can hear when I do this, right? Even though I'm sure it sounds like trash, it's just the mic picking up the live room. But I think that's what we're going to have to do today, because I don't have any other way around that right now.
You could put your signal on my signal, and we could do mono and just trade back and forth.
Oh, we could do that. Maybe we will. We'll see. I'm 3 seconds away from lighting the whole thing on fire. So I'm a pacifist. Just kidding. Just kidding about being a pacifist. All right. No, we'll roll with it. So you already talked about the composite neck and the cutoff date, which was the correct answer. There is no cutoff date, Timo.
Glad I got the correct answer.
Yeah, you've got it. Joe nailed it. Beef says your best playing happens when no one can hear anyway. Someone should put that quote on a t-shirt. That's pretty good. It's also true. Either that or when you think you're trash. I think I remember there was a Joe Satriani interview a long time ago where he made the comment about, you'll get off a stage, you'll feel like you played the best you ever played.
Yeah.
Or the worst you've ever played. And all your friends will come up and be like, that was the best gig I've ever heard in my life. Then you'll have a gig where you feel amazing and people will be like, dude, you were kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
It is.
The magic of it all coming together.
Yep.
So I appreciate the confidence, Beef. I think I'll probably need the help today. Dylan said, did you talk about Dylan's PME Seraph?
Not yet. No.
Okay, so that's where we're caught up. Dylan says, build update for his PME Seraph was the highlight of his week. Love the way it came out.
Super sick build.
Yeah, it's a crazy sick build.
I think a lot of people are stoked on it.
Pro tip, yeah, speaking of a lot of people who were stoked on it, I shared it to my story on Instagram, and my mom commented and was like, wow, that's gorgeous. And I said, thanks, Mom, because my mom's awesome. And she then replied something along the lines of, I think that's the most beautiful one yet. And I said, wow, Mom, it's a pale mood ebony top. It's super rare. We don't do it very often. So,
right.
Dylan, shout out. You made my mom's day, too.
That's right.
Only in that one specific way. Keep your head off the gutter. But yeah, it's a sick build, seriously. Gianluca, wait, is that the one that got posted? Yes, that is the one.
Yep.
Brandon says, see, Poppy. Mario, OBS has been having issues since yesterday. Twitch streamers have been getting knocked offline. Huh. Yeah, it's funny. Actually, I saw that. I guess I just didn't put two and two together. It looks like, again, the issue is that So if we're using a Scarlett 2i or 4i4 interface, and we have everything split for each of us individually, and usually I can see the levels of each channel individually, but it looks like it got some to mono for some reason out of just channel 1. We'll get it fixed. Always gremlins, so no worries.
Yep.
Dylan says Growler T-Bar came this week. Hope to do some videos of it and the Seraph Sparkle in the FBBGDG.
Nice. Would love to see him.
There it is. Yeah, that'd be super rad. And I'm glad you're soaked on the guava. The metallic guava was a color that, and Joe can tell the story better than me, but we've never done that color before. Tony was stoked on it, and we kind of just ran with it from there.
Yeah, it actually stemmed from just some photos Tony kind of sent us, and we kind of dwindled it down to something that was between like peach pink and shell pink with a little bit of coral thrown in. So it is a custom color. It's not something we've ever done on any other guitar besides Tony's T-Bars. So it's pretty cool.
Side note, it's very cool. That's not the side note. The side note is I once had a pair of shorts that were that sort of like coral peach salmon color. And my now wife, we've been married for almost 10 years. We went out for something. This is back when we lived in Louisiana. And I said, "Oh no, I spilled something on my shorts." And she was like, "Oh, well, at least it's pink." And I said, it's not pink. She was like, "What do you mean it's not pink?" I was like, "It's salmon. It's not pink." And she was like,
whatever you need to tell yourself.
Yeah, she was like, "So," and I was like, No. I'm like, seriously, it's salmon. Salmon and pink are not the same thing.
It's true.
And then she pulled up that clip of, I don't remember if it was Sex and the City or maybe it was Friends. There was some clip of someone like trying to debate the color of some really specific color.
Right.
Anyway, the guava is super unique and a lot of fun, and you can argue with all your friends about what the color actually is. Because as Joe said, it's a mixture of like 3 or 4 different pink, peach, coral-y things. Very cool. And was a highlight at NAMM last year, by the way. The Tony P SIGs, the new Growler T-Bars, and specifically that coral color was super popular.
We have some in stock right now.
We do not have any of the guava ones in stock.
We have the green ones, not the guava ones.
I think we have 1 or 2 of the cool greens left. They are very few and far between, though, so if you want them, reach out. Timo, I'd love to get that Growler standard baritone, rustic black, in your green color, but I understand that might get into custom territory. The price point on the offering is a bit more affordable. Yeah, so we do a rustic green that is, I believe, what you're describing, and it is only a select custom option. So you would have to jump up to a select custom for that. You could also get the Growler baritone standard and have it refinished because they are open pore finishes. They're easier to work with than like a full-on gloss poly finish if you were feeling brave or knew someone who was good at refinishing. Nothing wrong with that. We encourage that sort of stuff with our guitars. But otherwise, yeah, the rustic black is the only finish for now. And that's sort of the idea, by the way, is we want them to be more accessible. That's why we do the production runs. That's why we did, for instance, if you pick that guitar, it's a standard series guitar, which doesn't mean it's inferior in any way to a select series. It just has fewer options.
Yep.
That's really the only difference because people ask that question all the time.
Yeah, it's about the trim level, the type of specs chosen for that specific guitar. Yeah, kind of makes it either a standard or a select.
Yeah, and that's a good example. The 27-inch baritone 6 is something that people ask for all the time. So for us to be able to provide it at what we think is a reasonable price point for the spec, stainless steel frets, locking tuners, rich light board, roasted maple neck, rustic finished ash body with our pickups, and it's a ripper. Block inlays. Yep. Lots of cool spec on that guitar. I can't wait to get those in. They're super cool. But thank you for the interest too. Dylan says, Gianluca, yes, saw the post. Yeah, confirming his post. Yo, what's up, Kai? Thanks for dropping in. Kai? Happy Friday. I saw your post about, oh, damn, I'm going to embarrass myself. I saw you post something today that got me super interested, and I liked it today or yesterday. Was it a comparison vid that you were going to shoot or something? Anyway, just because I can't remember right now doesn't mean I'm not stoked for it. So can't wait to see that. You'll have to let me know what it is to refresh my memory. And yeah, Gianluca, that PME build that Dylan did is super sick. Timo says it is. It's beautifully simple and probably will chug regardless. I think you sold me. I'm likely going to pre-order one.
Awesome.
Oh, great.
Appreciate
If you have
that.
any other questions not in the live stream, feel free to shoot us an email.
Yeah.
info@balaguerguitars.com. You can find it on the website. We're happy to answer any questions you have. And of course, deposits are available. So whatever works for you, we're willing to work with you on. And yeah, it'll definitely chug. There's no way that it won't chug.
It's true.
Based on what it's equipped with, the ash body, and how we've got it built out. It could also be a Doom machine if you wanted it to be. It could also be something like, I have a 27-inch over there that I'm not pointing at Joe, that I keep on the rack that's in B standard. So like basically just a traditional baritone tuned 27-inch guitar. So it wouldn't have to be metal if you didn't want it to be.
Yeah.
The 27-inch scale with the ash body specifically just has a really killer open vibe and opens the doors to a clarity or crunchiness or like wooliness if you want that, depending on the pickup, depending on the amp and how you set it up. It's going to be a beast. We're super stoked about those.
Yeah, and you do like slide stuff on that one, right?
I do, yeah. I have. People have seen it. We've posted about it. It's the Espada, the Arnie Palmer Burst Espada with the flame maple top that I have like bare knuckles in it. And it's a 27-inch that I keep tuned in B standard, and I do the low boy slidey thing with it.
Yes.
A la, this is not a comparison, but inspired by the likes of Ariel Posen and Joey Landreth and that whole vibe.
Definitely check those dudes out if you've never heard them, because really cool playing and music.
Yeah, you want to be taken to school on texture and recording and songwriting and soulful playing and all that stuff, all the buzzwords around that kind of playing, they're about as good as you get. Yep. And Ariel's amazing. I've seen him a couple of times live. Super sick. Also met him at NAMM a couple of years ago, and he was the nicest cat in the world. So shout out. Matt says, will there be other sparkle finish options on the builder in the future?
Yeah, we are prototyping them currently, which is what this guitar is.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, it is something that we're looking to add to the builder this year. We just want to make sure they're dialed in to exactly to our specifications and to our quality level, and making sure they're affordable for everyone.
Yep.
Sparkle finishes do take longer to do, and they're more just laborious in general. So we just want to make sure that they're dialed in before we release them, but they are coming.
Yes,
for sure.
They're anyone who's been around, like Dylan mentioned one. We did a couple of custom serifs and sparkle finishes. Dylan has one. This is one which I'm proud to say I am the owner of. I couldn't. I went back and forth for a while, and then Joe, in his infinite kindness, offered it to me, and so it is mine now. I changed the bridge pickup to a Trano Bucker, which you'll be able to hear one day, just apparently not today. Oh, damn.
Boom.
Okay, here we go.
Passing the torch.
It's through Joe's amp, but we'll do it. Turn that tuner off for me, please. Let's see. This also has the Nova in the neck position, which if anyone's been watching any of the live streams lately, you'll know I've had like a little bit of a fling with. That's because this is unplugged. I've had a little bit of a fling with it lately, and it sounds like this. Good stuff. It is muy grande.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
No, it's ripper. And we had the Hypernova in these. I know Dylan's has a Hypernova in it. I swapped it for a Trano Bucker just for a little more of that like lower mid thump while still having the modern clarity.
Yeah.
And it does really well with the Alder body and the maple everything. Sounds sick. You'll be able to hear it through a capture of my Bogner Uberschall Ultra once my channel's working. But either way,
It's true.
yeah, sparkle finishes, super rad. Be sure to keep an eye out. If you're not subscribed to our newsletter, go to the website, balaguerguitars.com. There's a little newsletter thing you can click on, put in your email address. We send everything out from the newsletter, so you'll be the first or near the first to know about anything we release, anything new that we do.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to actually be the first to know, typically the first people to know anything that we do are in the Balaguer Facebook discussion group, the BGFBDG. Oh, I have to do it. Oh, no. So yeah, that's join the Facebook discussion group. I can talk, I promise. Join the Facebook discussion group. Typically, that's where we talk about new spec and a lot of the questions that are being asked. You can always drop them in there. People are super helpful. It's a killer community. It's not the same as many other online guitar communities that are not too pleasant to be around. We keep it pretty clean. So come in, ask some questions, meet some people, do the whole thing. It's rad. We have a good time.
There's a good shout about the newsletter, though, because if you're not on social media, you can go to our website, sign up for the newsletter. We send one out once a month just to update y'all on what we have going on.
Yep.
So definitely check that out.
Yes. Kai says, currently working on a full mod project baritone as a collab with Loath's guitar tech, Ryan.
I saw
Super stoked about that.
That looks sick with the white covers on the pickups.
Mm-hmm.
I did see a post about that the other day. Very cool.
Yeah, Kai's a relatively humble individual, but does some really cool stuff. Be sure to check out his YouTube channel and what he's got going on too. And a great friend of the brand. So, shout out. Timo says, Ashwood seems to be very popular now. And Kenny says, I'm here. I made it. Yo! Happy Friday, Ken. Good to hear from you, dude. Yes, Timo, it is. It's probably, I think in a way that roasted maple became the neckwood of choice for a lot of what I think people in this chat will be familiar with, and certainly just a lot of stuff around. I think ash has slowly sort of done the same thing for bodywoods. Not for everything, but I think it's become, it's a relatively balanced EQ with a lot of clarity. You can do a lot of cool things with it, like rustic finishes, and it has a lot of, whether you're copping the early Van Halen tone, which was apparently an ash body, or doing the more modern metal thing, it just affords a lot of clarity without being too picky, like ice picky. Definitely a solid choice, and you do see it a lot now.
Yeah, especially with extended range guitars like 7 strings, baritone 6 strings. It seems to be the bodywood of choice for a lot of those types of instruments. And Alder is definitely a close second, I would think, just because it's such a popular bodywood. But
I think Alder's still our number one seller and probably still worldwide the most popular. But ash is definitely, depending on your taste, super solid choice.
For sure.
I made my 7-string out of ash. I like ash for 7 strings and 6s. Both good options. Can't go wrong. Brandon, Joe, what made you use a different radius for that composite neck?
So that's a good question. It wasn't necessarily preferential. It was more so the company that we're working with. They're a small company out of Finland, and we are collaborating on the design. So there's certain limitations that they have right now that we're working with them on to expand some of those options to encompass some of the things that I want in a composite neck. So we're in the very early stages of development with them.
Yes.
That is a prototype neck. So we accepted it having a 12-inch radius because that's what they were capable of doing at that time.
Yes.
But we do plan on expanding that option to a lot of different series of guitars that we offer, which will have different options, which I think could potentially lead us to offering more radius options in the future overall, not just for composite necks.
Yes.
So yeah, good question.
That is a good question. And for anyone who doesn't know, education time with Joe and Jake, the radius is the curvature of the fret and fingerboard. Technically, they should match, but you can mismatch them. That's okay sometimes. This curvature here,
As long as they're level.
yeah, yeah. This curvature here. So when you play, for instance, if you play like a vintage Strat, which has a very, very small radius, it's a heavy curve. Like it feels like you're pushing against the fingerboard when you bend something.
Yeah.
Versus something like a Balaguer, which is 16-inch radius. It's typically on the flatter end of things. So it feels very fast and very like there's nothing in your way when you're playing. I can speak my own personal experience. I came from playing usually 12-inch radius guitars, and it took me a minute to get used to it. The neck carve is what I fell in love with way back in the day when I ordered my first BG before I worked for the company. The neck carve is really what got me, and the options, of course, when I ordered my first Select Custom. But the fingerboard took me a minute to get used to. But now that I'm used to it, it's hard to go back to anything else because it really does allow you to set the guitar up in any way you want. I mentioned playing slide on one of my other Balaguers earlier. It makes it to where the slide feel to me is more consistent because it's a flatter radius, you know, or if I'm playing metal, it makes it feel like there's less in my way and I play a little faster.
Yeah.
You know, not that you can't shred on a vintage Fender, but it's a different feel and it's hard to get away from once you get used to it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will find, and this is completely my opinion, so take this with a grain of salt, but in my experience, how ergonomic it feels, how comfortable it feels over time, once you get used to a flatter fingerboard radius, greatly outweighs, like Jake said, going back to a more round fingerboard. I think it's the tension that your wrist takes on and the tension that your fingers take on when playing a fingerboard that has a rounder radius is greater than a flat fingerboard because you don't need to press hard as hard. You also don't need to hold your hand in a certain way to kind of like grasp the neck at a specific angle to get a specific chord shape. So there's just a lot of advantages that that I think a flatter fingerboard radius has, while also having a more rounded, typical C-shaped neck. I think the marriage between those two things just equal a very comfortable neck.
Yeah, and that's a great question, Brandon, and it's an important aspect of the feel. Like if you play a Balaguer, the radius paired with the neck shape is really what I think, that and the pickups, if I'm honest, if we're going beyond just the shape of the body, are the things that I think we're most known for at this point. You can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that's what we hear a lot, and it's a combination of a comfortable neck. When you pick up the neck, it's not going to feel like you're playing something alien. You know, the actual carve of the neck and the way it sits in your hand is very natural, and it's made more natural by the radius of the fingerboard.
Yeah.
If the fingerboard was a lesser radius, meaning more curvature, you might want a fatter neck or something to help sort of balance out that extra curve to give you more purchase with your hands when you're doing things, with the guitar specifically.
Sure.
But the balance of it, of the neck profile with the fingerboard radius is really, I think, a defining characteristic. And we recommend playing them if you can, because it's a great feel. And like Joe said, once you get used to it, it's hard to get away from it. I had a great conversation with Andy Ferris, the Guitar Geek, great YouTube channel.
Shout out to Andy.
Shout out to Andy, who's a super rad guy. We had a killer hang at Guitar Summit in Germany, and we talked. You can find it on his YouTube channel. He did an interview with me while we were there. It was super cool. And we talked a bit about the radius because he specifically asked, which we did not plan. The whole interview was live. And he was like, 16-inch radius, what's up with that? And I said, well, and I explained everything that basically we just got through talking about. He had a great moment. It's such a fun guy to talk to. He just leaned in and was like, you know what, Jake? I agree with you. And I had that moment and he plays more vintage vibed stuff and comes from that world. So it's cool to sort of experiment with the differences. And you find the comfort everywhere because there's no wrong answer most of the time.
Right.
It's just a preference thing, which is a lot of fun. Will, yo, what's up, dude? This may sound crazy, but keep an open mind. I make glass picks. Maybe we can work something out to ship out a couple with every Balaguer. Shoot us an email. info@balaguerguitars.com.
Definitely check them out for sure.
Yeah, we do fun stuff. We've tried a bunch of alternative material picks, you know, whether it's the metal stuff or the weird, like I say weird, not weird in a bad way, but the resin stuff and the gravity picks and those sorts of things. We'd be happy to check it out though.
Yeah.
Shoot us an email. Let's talk. Loose Bolts. That's a fun name. Just subscribe to the channel. Love the guitar talk. The gold sparkle guitar is fire. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
thanks
it.
for the sub, and thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the compliments on the guitar. This is I'm also a sucker. Joe and I joke because almost if it was up to him, everything would be Silverburst, and if it was up to me, a lot of things would be Goldburst. So we kind of end up doing the silver gold thing, not intentionally, but because these are just really kind of our favorite finishes.
Yep.
Anyone who's seen me play my Ether knows that it's a Goldburst, metallic rather than sparkle with Goldburst.
Yep.
And Joe's played, I think, countless Silverburst guitars at this point.
Yeah.
I have one on a stand back here, the one that he played in the last live stream too.
Yep. This is my main guitar now, which is metallic Silverburst, but the other guitar I own, my other main guitar is a Silverburst Hyperion
Satin.
One of Fluff's old OG
shout out.
Hyperions.
Shout out to the boy with the beard.
Yes.
Timo, what does the Balaguer cauterizer sound like, or is it similar to? That's a tough question to answer.
I would say it's probably the most similar to the Muramasa, which is the humbucker that I have in this Vega. Just not as, I don't want to say sharp sounding because that sounds negative, but it's not as present in the upper mids as the Muramasa, because the Muramasa is a rail magnet humbucker, where the cauterizer has a few different ceramic magnets underneath it, and the cauterizer has pull pieces and slug coils instead of the rails. So I could definitely play through this to show you something that would be somewhat similar. Didn't we already switch, I thought?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Let it rip, champ. Well, that sounds huge. Yeah, it's people who've been in the stream before will know that when we talk about pickups, which by the way, we just released a bunch of demo clips with our pickups on YouTube.
Yes.
They're high quality, pro recorded, super legit demos. That pickup is not included in that yet, but it will be soon.
After NAMM, yep.
After NAMM, so keep a lookout. But the cauterizers are in there, so if you want to hear them compared to our more stock pickups, that is in that playlist. Yep. Check it out on the Balaguer Guitars YouTube, which you are familiar with if you are here. We often describe the Muramasa and the cauterizer as sort of like different sides of the same coin, where if you need something that's compressed and aggressive and sharper in a good way, like a blade, the Muramasa is the way to go. If you want something that still has the clarity, but is a little less compressed, a little more focused in the low mids, and has like just moves a lot of air, we would say if the Muramasa is the blade, the cauterizer is the sledgehammer. It just it hits really hard.
It's a good metaphor for sure.
Yeah, and it's not, neither of them are like the most insanely high output things ever put on the market. They are both high output, but it's not the kind of stuff that's going to like destroy any amp you put it through. It's really made to be tailored for the tone that you want it to do.
Yeah, and
they are both made that way.
Yeah, they're both built to be capable of withstanding the most extreme styles of music while also cleaning up and not being a humbucker that's overwhelmed that will just distort your clean signal.
Yeah.
So that is definitely intentional to make the pickup versatile, but still tight and articulate enough to handle, you know, the acacia strain tones like Devin gets. So,
awesome.
So if you're not aware, anyone out there who's watching, the Cauterizer is the signature pickup for Devin Scheidacre
Yes.
of the band, the Acacia Strain. He's also the artist relations manager here at Balaguer Guitars. And if you find his Instagram page, I believe he has some like great videos on there, like live type of videos.
Yeah.
Where he's gone live on his own Instagram and has played his guitars that are loaded with cauterizers.
Yep.
He's also one of the nicest guys, so I'm sure if you reach out to him and ask his own opinion about his pickups, I'm sure he might even be able to give you a more articulate answer than we're giving you now. So
yes, super good stuff, and they sound killer. I don't typically do the super high output pickup thing, but they don't. Again, similar to the Muramoso, they're not built just to overwhelm everything.
Right.
They're crazy powerful without being uncontrollable.
Yeah.
Super cool pickups. The good question, Timo. Thank you. Kai says, totally random question, but what's your number one tool in your guitar setup kit? I have an answer, but I'm gonna let Joe answer first.
Yeah. I think the thing that saves me the most time and headache is my StewMac top deflection gauge.
I knew it.
Yeah, and they don't make it anymore. They make a newer version, which is called the neck relief gauge, which is kind of a modified version of the original top deflection gauge. And the top deflection gauge can be used as a neck relief gauge. That was part of its function, but the main function of that gauge was to work on acoustic guitars, which is why it's called top deflection. So when you're looking at an acoustic guitar and you need to see if the top is deflecting in a certain way, and if you need to adjust the bracing or reset the bridge, or a whole different variable of repairs, but that is irreplaceable for me, just because while I did learn in lutherie school and over the years before I bought the deflection gauge to read relief the old school way, that is exact to like the thousandths of an inch that you would expect a gauge like that to do. And it allows us to set up our guitars as best as we can and as close as we can to a perfect relief setting. So I would have to choose that. And it's unfortunate that they don't make it anymore. So I'm,
SOL.
I have to take care of it and make sure it doesn't fall apart. Luckily, it's machined out of aluminum.
No loaning.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, while I am not a luthier, I have done a lot of tech work for Balaguer. I'm pretty proud to say, and I do think that for me, if I'm gonna pick like the one thing that I'm so glad to have, it's an angled truss rod adjustment tool. Meaning a regular Allen key looks like this. It's in the shape of an L, and you have a 90-degree angle here where you slot it in and turn it, which is the standard tool, and there is nothing wrong with it. We include it with all of our guitars that have headstock truss rod adjustments because they will get the job done. But when you're burning through a bunch of guitars in a day or over a long period of time, instead of it being L-shaped like this, it's at an angle like this. So you've got an obtuse angle here. So instead of being 90 degrees, it's 135 degrees. And that extra open angle lets you kind of get in for tougher guitars, which there aren't very many of ours like that. Again, that's why we include the standard Allen key. You can adjust anything, but it just makes it kind of easier to get in and out without having to move strings or anything like that. Yeah. And that is, for an extra $1, just so worth the money to me. And it's probably the number one, the truss rod multi-tool stuff that you can get out that has both the 90 degree, the 135 degree, and I can't think of what it's called right now. The feeler gauge. So it's got the feeler gauges in it. It's got everything in it, so you can do a complete setup. Those multi-tools, sold.
Yeah.
One of the best things you'll invest in. There are other cool things like string winders and stuff that just help a lot and make things super easy.
Yeah.
But that multi-tool, highly recommended.
What about you? What about you guys? What do you think?
Yeah. If you work on your own guitars, or if you don't, what are your favorite tools?
Yeah.
We're curious.
I'd like to know.
That's a fun question, Kai, though. You should drop more like that in the chat. I like that. Brandon says, if your guitar comes home from NAMM, are you planning on putting it up for sale? Neither of these are for sale.
Nope.
That's Joe's. This is mine. Mind your own business. No, I'm just kidding. There will be some guitars at NAMM with us that will be for sale after the show.
Yep.
So keep a lookout. A little bit of everything. We can't give everything away yet, but be sure to check it out. We will be doing live streams at NAMM and posting update photos and stuff.
Yeah.
So you'll see the things as they're released.
Short but sweet live streams.
Short but sweet. Kenny says, classic design, modern feel. You can use that as a tagline. I won't charge you. Thanks. Marketing genius. Never read that before anywhere else in his life. Ken Blum. Shout out. Juan says that size flake is insane. Also, HS gang, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, this is my first HS guitar. And I fell in love with the Nova. I love the humbucker in the bridge. It's a sweet setup. Yeah, I'm super stoked about it. And thank you for the compliments on the flake. While I didn't do it myself, I love the look of it, and it is sick. So thank you for the kind words, Juan, and good to hear from you. Kai says, large flake obsessed. Yes, so are we. Kenny says, yes, HS gang. Yeah, Ken has one of the sickest Espadas. It's got this, it's a beautiful satin finish. I think it's satin teal is the actual finish. HS setup. It's got an awesome, that finish really pops the forearm contour in the Espada. It's just a super rad build. We saw Ken with his band, The Man in the Machine, in Spring City not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, tones were just ripping.
It was actually a custom color called Oxford Gray.
Oh, that's right.
But,
right.
And yeah, the HS in this one, it's actually unassuming, but this is a humbucker in the neck in a single coil enclosure. It's a Hot Rails by Seymour Duncan.
Yeah, which I'm in love with the Nova right now. It's hard for me. Every guitar I've owned for the most part of my life has had a humbucker in the neck.
Yeah.
So it's weird because for some things I love it. For some things I don't touch it. I want to experiment more with neck single coil sized humbuckers.
Yeah.
Which I've done over the years, but really just the popular stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be fun to kind of compare and contrast.
For sure.
So yeah, stoked. Quicksilver says finish on the Seraph is nutty. Thank you. I agree. Let's see. You guys ship to India. Harshit, hey, what's up, man? Yes, we do. Love your guitars, by the way. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
We do ship to India. So we've shipped to India probably a dozen times over the last couple of years-ish, 10, 12 times. So yeah, absolutely. All you have to do, if you have any questions about any of that stuff, email us, info@balaguerguitars.com. We'll answer any of your questions. But yes, we do ship to India, and we would be happy to. And thank you for the kind words and for joining the stream.
Yeah.
And I'm running out over here. Brandon says, Joe, you're making that FYS Silverburst too, LOL. Are you making that Silverburst?
Yeah, maybe. I have a little project in the other room, a Thicket FYS. And yeah, it's a little used, so I think I'm going to refinish it in a different finish. And Silverburst is definitely on the list.
He's not allowed.
I was thinking olive drab green over sunburst and then age the olive drab to show the sunburst underneath. So I think that's in the lead for me right now.
Yeah, we've only done 3 or 4 silver bursts and 3 or 4 olive drabs. So it's a good thing we're picking a finish that we've already done.
That's right. Hey, if
3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 times.
If it's my guitar,
well,
I'm
if it's
gonna
your guitar,
I'm gonna do what I want. Yeah.
As if he couldn't do what he wanted already.
Yeah.
But yes, either way, yes, we're talking about it. Very cool. Will says, cool, we'll do. Yeah, we'll look out, man. Toby, what's up, dude? Thanks for joining.
Hey.
Dylan says, Devin Scheidegger has a promo for his old DS8 that has the cauterizers. If you want an idea of what it sounds like in the bridge, at least, LOL. Yeah, that only had the bridge pickup in it because Devin just only cares to destroy when he's doing a lot of that acacia string stuff. But yes, there are a bunch of cool clips out there.
Yep.
Kai says, Bana did a Devin Sig demo too for some extra clips. Oh, Andrew. Yeah. Yep. He did. Also, another great YouTube channel and Rad Hang.
Yeah.
Andrew Bana, who I know he and Kai are friends, and he's done some stuff with us. So, yeah, definitely check his stuff out.
He's also a fellow green guitar lover, Andrew Bana. So, shout out. Green Army, green guys.
Also, shout out Will for the support, too, because we did know. I thought I recognized your name. So, yeah, hit us up. Let's see. 540, awesome. Kai says, I swear by a notched straight edge for neck relief. It's
Sure.
not as fancy as the gauge, but it's way better than the tap test.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are definitely great for sure.
Yep.
And I think, you know, if you want something better than the tap test, there's a lot of tools out there that are pretty affordable and accessible, whether it's through Crimson Guitars, their Luthery tools, or StewMac or Music Nomad. Shout out to Music Nomad, by the way, because
Yes.
not to go too much on a tangent, but they just released some really cool tools for this year, like a spot leveling file that goes under the strings.
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
And some other cool like fretwork based tools. So check that stuff out if you work on your own guitars.
Yeah. I would say also that there are any sort of straight edge, notched straight edge, marked straight edge, whether you're doing, you can use it even as a guide for relief, even if it's not a full length straight edge.
Mhm.
You can get in the ballpark, but it'll also let you do your action, your nut height, your, you know, a quality straight edge, especially one with good measurements on it, because they're not all good, will get you a long way. So
Yeah.
that's a good shout. And the cool thing, I think the reason, for the record, utilitarian tools, you need them, right? But I would encourage anyone, maybe encourage is a strong word, if you're curious about things like relief and stuff like that, because a lot of guitar players and bass players and musicians in general, because it's not just guitars and basses, are scared of relief as a thing, or don't really understand it, or are afraid to adjust the truss rod. And I'm not telling you to go ham. This is my disclaimer. Do not do that. You could break something if you're just absolutely nutty with it. But if you want to see what those things do, give it a shot. You know, you're not going to break it if you've got half a brain about it. Just give it a quarter turn at a time. Feel the difference that it makes when you add relief and remove relief, which, since we did the little educational bit earlier, relief is the curve in the neck like this. And I'm exaggerating this greatly, obviously. But you can adjust the neck to go from this to being more flat and even to being convex, depending on the setup. And it's cool to play around with that stuff, because there is a limit of where it's the way it should be, and where it's best set up. But there is preference in some of that stuff too. So it's fun to play around with, and it's fun to kind of get a feel for things like setup and action and all that.
Make sure you're using the right size Allen key, because if you strip the truss rod nut,
that's bad.
You're not going to have a good time.
No.
Quarter of a turn or even less does a lot
Yes.
to the neck, and you want to let the neck rest for a few minutes after you do a truss rod adjustment, especially if it hasn't been adjusted in a long time. So I would, you know, consult your local luthier or use the internet to make sure, you know, you got all the other variables figured out. But
the truth is, we both learned how to build guitars on the internet. So, you know, just go to some forum and read what some dude said 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's not true.
No, Joe is officially licensed. The whole vibe is just, it is fun. Just have fun with it. You know, really, as long as you have some bit of self-control, you're not going to hurt anything. But like Joe said, use the right tools, the right size tools. Don't get a wild hair and just decide to go messing around, because stripping things, most things, is a bad idea. Certainly the hardware aspect of stripping. Don't do that. You will have a real bad time. Anyone who's ever worked on bikes or cars, sheared a bolt or stripped a screw or anything like that, it's the worst thing in the world. It's just as bad on guitars. Don't do it. But it is fun, and you should mess around with it responsibly. Kenny says a tuner is his #1 tool. Womp womp.
Nice.
#1 pedal everybody needs. There is no exception. There are no alternative answers. The #1 thing every guitar player and bass player should have is a tuner. Before you own anything else,
it's true.
Own a tuner.
Helps.
Clip-on tuner pedal. If you don't have a cable, use the clip-on. If you have a cable and an amp and stuff, use a tuner pedal.
There's apps now.
QC apps,
you know, there's
on your phone for free.
No excuse at this point to not have an in-tune guitar.
Please tune your guitar. And definitely not a womp womp. I think we spent probably 10 minutes in the last live stream talking about utility pedals and how good they are. So definitely good stuff.
Yep.
Juan says, shout out to the winder clipper combo. Yes, that is one of the original time-saving tools. String clipper, string winder in the same tool. Made famous by many a brand and
Yes.
totally worth having in your bag. Kai says, number one tool for me is the StewMac Fret Kisser. God tier for quick fixes. Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got a guitar, a new guitar or new to you guitar, that you didn't have a chance to really get your hands on first. A lot of guitars in the history of the world have been ruined by one shitty fret, and a fret kisser will fix that one bad fret most of the time.
Yeah, we have quite a few in the shop here, and they're great. And I'm looking forward to testing out the new Music Nomad stuff too, because it's their version of that, but you can do it while the strings are on, which is pretty rad.
Yeah.
I think we should also kind of touch on some of the other things here before we run out of time.
Okay, let me burn through this stuff and then we'll go. Yes. Composite neck guitar, Brandon says. Yes. Ken says, ha 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 ha. Yes. Thanks for the kind words. You bet, man. Kai says, you already know I'm a sucker for finish over finish. He's not allowed to do it. Juan says, Joe, be like silver burst everything shreds. That is the most accurate comment I've read in the history of our live streams. If I could give you an MVP award, I'd give it to you. Gianluca says, I don't know if I'm going to do this yet, but would it be possible to visit the shop in PA instead of having my guitar shipped to me from there? It is possible. Yeah. Reach out to us. It's all by appointment, but of course we know you. We'll get something set up. No problem at all. Ken says, S. Crossy, yes. Juan says, guitar setup. Yeah. I love this. We're going to have so many awesome taglines. Joe says, hey guys, Joe Kester. Hey guys, glad I could join the live stream this time. Patiently waiting my first custom with y'all. Keep up the awesome content. Thought I recognized your name.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks for the order. Thanks for the support. And thanks for joining the live stream.
Good name. Good name.
Yeah, good name. It's all right. It doesn't have an E on it, though.
Doesn't matter.
There could be only one. Matt says, thank you for answering. I'm excited to hear that. If the metallic blueberry is ever available as a large flake sparkle, like that gold seraph, I'm just going to throw my money at it. You and me both, Matt. Juan says, shout out to stripping screws and nuts. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Kenny says, I consult my man Joey B for all my guitar screw-up needs. That's the correct answer. Or any local luthier who you trust. We will filter Joe's inbox. Don't go nuts. Kai says, and the only good tuner is the Strobo Stomp. To be fair, we have one on the shelf right there. We both had one on our pedal boards. I personally think, personal opinion, that the Strobo Stomp is the best pedal tuner ever made.
Yeah, we also have the bench versions on all of our benches in there.
We do. It's what we use in the shop.
Yeah.
I would say second choice goes to the Walrus canvas.
Yeah, those are sick.
That thing's a blast, does an insanely good job, and is fun and looks amazing.
Yep. So
super good stuff. Let's see. Will says, yes, love the fret kisser. Yeah, solid stuff. So other things. We talked about pickups, gear, guitars that we're making that you're familiar with, all of that stuff. Where do you want to start? What are we doing here?
So we
have a whiteboard and we're reading some things, but I'm lost.
Yeah. Quick update on the Espada Ambience and the Espada Limiteds.
Yes.
If you did pre-order one through either a dealer or through us directly, they are still going through final QC, and they will be shipping out shortly after NAMM.
Yes.
So within the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yes.
So appreciate the patience, appreciate the support. We are getting through them. We just want to make sure they are as best as they can be for you.
Yes.
So just a quick update on those. And and we have a lot of really cool things to release at NAMM that we're not going to talk about right now, but we may tease some things.
You tease.
So on the 21st and on the 24th of next week, you will see some cool things coming out. And that's all I will say about that.
Yes. Be sure to keep a lookout. Subscribe to our socials. Like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube. And subscribe to our socials and join the Balaguer Facebook discussion group and join our newsletter on the website if you don't have social media. We don't blame you. It's a cesspool, but we do it because we have to for work and because family members and friends are cool to stay in touch with.
Also about NAMM, if you guys see anything that looks cool, drop it in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
Every now and again, Jake and I will get some time to go grab something to eat between meetings, and we like to kind of peruse the other booths and check out the other cool gear that's there.
Yeah. You know you're there for business when you have to look up the map to find things on the way, to plan your route while you're on the way to lunch and on
Yeah.
the way back, because you actually don't have that much time to be away from the booth.
No, not at all. And it's a gigantic convention center.
Yeah.
So you really do need to plan your routes.
It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. I'm
Yep.
looking forward to it with great anticipation.
Yeah. It'll be a good time.
But yeah, if I know, like I saw, speaking of Walrus, they released their rehearsal canvas rehearsal,
Yeah.
which is
that's cool.
this super sick unit that you can plug the guitar in, Bluetooth, or plug an audio source in. So like whatever, your iPod. They still make iPods, right? Oops. And it's also got a built-in programmable metronome and some other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just great. Headphone out, the whole thing. It's just an awesome, compact rehearsal setup, practice setup. Super cool. May have to get one. Definitely going to check it out while we're there with the boys at Walrus.
Jake's going to connect
boys and
his
girls.
iPod Nano to it
Yeah, Jesus.
via Bluetooth. He's getting old.
That's
Actually,
right.
it's Jake's birthday in 2 days. So happy early
Oh,
birthday
that's
to
true.
Jake.
It is on
He's going to be
Sunday.
74.
I'm going to be 74,000 million years old.
Yeah, that's right.
I was alive when Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. I actually edited that. I was alive whenever Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and I told his ass to sink in the ocean, and he didn't listen.
Well,
And then what else? I was around for the pyramids in Giza.
yeah.
Yes, the before times. But yes, I will be the ripe old age of 36. So shout out to all of the mid 30-year-old people who are on the cusp of turning 40 and don't care. That's me. But the riffs shall flow.
Yeah.
No one stops the passage of time. So it's all good.
Besides Walrus, I think I'm most excited to
Yeah, what do
see
you want to check out at NAMM?
the new Marshall stuff.
Oh, yeah, the modded stuff.
Yeah, supposedly there's some new Marshall amps coming out that are kind of aching back to the early JMPs, the early JCMA 100s, but they're going to be modded versions of those amps. So,
Yes.
you know, the Jose Arenado mods, all of the mods that like Eddie Van Halen and all the super popular guitar players from the 80s and 90s, you know, did on their old Marshall Plexis and whatnot.
Yes.
Supposedly they're coming out with, and I say supposedly because I don't know if they're going to be at NAMM or not, but I know they have a booth, so it would behoove them to bring them.
Yeah, it'll probably just be a bunch of like Bluetooth speakers or something.
Also, I want to go see Fluff because
he will be with Marshall.
He's working the Marshall booth, and
Which is rad.
That's super cool.
Yeah. We love Marshall amps, so that'll be rad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think what else? Obviously Mesa dropped the 2C Plus and the Recto reissue, or not reissue, but their 90s Recto, which is super cool.
Plus seeing our Neural DSP friends.
Yeah, we will have PlayStation. I keep saying PlayStations, and I think of the gaming console, of which I am a fan. But the
setups,
play areas where you can sit and play your guitar. We will have them in the booth. They will be equipped with Nano Cortexes and maybe some other stuff. So be sure to check that out too. Shout out to the team at Neural who are always good to us.
Yeah.
Kyle just shared the old man emoji and said, Jake right now.
Nice.
That's me, dude. My hair, you can't tell when I take my hat off like this because my hat's been on all day, but it's not getting any thicker. I can tell you that. And I've also got little weird hairs growing in funny places, like on my back and like the back of my arm.
Well,
yeah. I'm not even like a gorilla, but you know.
Slowly becoming a werewolf.
That's right. I'm one step into the grave every day, one step closer.
Aren't we all?
I ain't mad about it though. I mean, look at what we're doing. Could I be any happier?
It could be worse.
It could be way worse. I almost said something really mean right there. It could be, not to us. It could be really, it could be much, much worse, but it's not.
It's true.
Because Balaguer rules and we're having a great time doing goofy live stream shit. So Juan says, I'm definitely still rocking the iPod Nano. Good. I'm glad I'm not totally off base. Will says new X100 looks interesting. Yes.
Oh, okay.
It does.
Yeah.
We're curious to see that as well.
That's the rack mount one, right?
I think so. Correct us if we're wrong, Will, but it does look super rad. Ken says, knew it. You don't look a day over 6,400 years old. Thank you, man. I do the best I can. It's really the skincare routine and growing a beard to cover up some of the age. That's the secret. Also, bathing in the blood of your enemies.
That'll do it.
Kai says Marshall teased a bunch of pedals today, too. Oh, really? I didn't see that.
I missed that. I'll check that out.
Yes. Bought a DSL 20 head on a whim within 5 minutes of waking up today. Nice. I gigged a DSL for a long time. I think the DSL and TSLs are underrated.
It's the 60 watt one, right?
I had the 60 watt
Yeah, those are sweet.
TSL and then the 100 watt DSL.
Nice.
Yeah, they're both. I think they're underrated. They're really good amps. They catch a lot of flack. They are a little sharp. That was when Marshall was sort of in their transition period from the more classic stuff to the more modern stuff. They're really cool amps. Today, I would say just buy a JBM because they do those sounds only better. But they are good amps, and they're also tanks. I think I literally dropped my DSL out the back of a gig when we were loading out and like cracked the head shell, picked it up. This is on the, loading in. Picked it up, played the gig, went home, super glued it, like wood glued it. They're built like tanks.
Yeah.
That's one thing Marshall does do well. Ken says, love Neural. Yes, so do we. Welcome to my life, Jake. Hair in weird places. Put that on a t-shirt too. Hair in weird places. Kyle says, I feel that about the hair. Time is relentless. It is indeed.
Yep.
Juan says, hair in weird places like the shower drain. Also true. Mario says, Jesus Christ, signed Jake's high school yearbook. Yeah, it just said peace, love, and good happiness stuff.
Oh, man.
Yeah. We're on good terms because the thing is, little known fact, Jesus Christ, pretty rad dude. It's the other people who have things to say about what he said that kind of suck. Yeah, not all the time, just joshing. Will says, No MXR is putting out the X100 out in a pedal. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
What am I thinking of then?
I don't know.
I'm thinking of the Soldano purple rack.
What did they call that? It did have a name like that.
I thought it had an X in it, but
yeah,
maybe I'm wrong.
I'm a big MXR fan. I've had their pedals on every board I've ever built. Good stuff. Kai says DSL 20 was $250 when it was hard to turn down. Yeah,
wow,
I believe it.
That's a great deal.
And that's in pounds sterling.
That's right.
Kenny says I actually left out on that one. Yeah, he's got me covered. You know, that's anytime I feel like I'm in a bad place, I just open my yearbook and I'm like, Jesus. So yeah, NAMM will be rad. We leave on Tuesday.
Yes.
So we fly out on Tuesday, get back later in the week, exhausted, hopefully having not contracted anthrax,
right,
and ready to get back to work. So we're looking forward to it. Keep a lookout for all of our stuff.
Yes.
We'll be releasing all of this info, stuff that we've hinted at for quite a while now. And yeah, there are a handful of things that we are especially excited about that we will be releasing. If you're going to be there, come see us. Yes. If you're not going to be there, bombard us with Facebook messages about how much you wish you were there, because we wish you were all there too.
Yeah, come hang for the live streams every morning.
Yeah, live streams will be whatever, 10, 15 minutes in the morning. We'll get caught up on everything. And yeah, it'll be rad. In the meantime, thank you, Mario. I'm going to do a lightning round real quick. We're going to let Joe play us out since his guitar makes noises. And I'll just pretend like I'm playing, and we'll be good to go. And we'll shut it down. We will be in California next week, just to reiterate. So if we're slow to reply or anything like that, we apologize in advance. We will get to everyone's emails and all of that stuff, certainly when we get back. And yeah, that's that. Happy Friday. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Have a great weekend. Thanks for the kind words, Gianluca, Kenny, Mario, Dylan. Thanks everybody. And be sure to stay in touch while we're out there. We'll, if you want to Venmo us money so we can afford anything, gas, food, be great.
No, that's unnecessary.
It's BGFBDG123 at comcast.gov.
Yeah.
And
someone's going to go sign that up. Good
luck. You'll find us there. Anyway, have a good weekend, everyone. Hope everyone has a great week next week.
Yes.
We'll catch y'all on the flip side.